Hi, I'm Dr. Dustin York.
You're a doctor? My friend needs help.
Not that kind of doctor. I'm a professor of communication, and what I love is nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication really helps with leadership, negotiation, politicians, even public speaking in the classroom. Now, some people tend to be better at nonverbal communication than others. For example, extroverts are really good at nonverbals. People that truly know empathy and can use empathy very well are really good. People who have people-oriented jobs, they know nonverbal communication really well. And finally, women tend to be better than men at picking up nonverbal communication and body language. But you know who else is really good at nonverbal communication? Politicians. Politicians are trained in nonverbal communication and body language. Now, they're trained for debates and presentations specifically from media trainers who tell them these tricks of body language and nonverbal communication. This ad brought to you by drdustinyork.com for your media training needs. Here are a few tips that politicians use that are trained in nonverbal communication. One, when they come on stage, they actually point out 2 or 3 people in the audience, and this is what they're gonna do. They'll point at a complete stranger and say, hey, how's it going? They don't know this person whatsoever. When polled, people in the audience and on TV think that politician spent time in this city and actually had one-on-one interaction. I like that politician. Actually, they just got off the bus, gave a presentation, and went right back on the exact same bus. Some other quick things. Every politician has their own light bulb that makes them look the healthiest. So there's a team of people like myself who change out the light bulb on stage to make them look the best they can possibly be. And the last time, if you ever see a politician like roll up their sleeves or take their blazer off, it's all trained, it's all planned out, because I roll up my sleeves and I say, I grew up in a town just like this one. It's not because they're hot, it's because they seem like an everyday person. So politicians can obviously use nonverbal communication training, but you say, okay, Ginger, how can I use these tips for my class presentations? First, whoa, that's harsh. But second, here are some tips for your class presentations. First, get rid of any barriers. Stand behind nothing whatsoever. These barriers hold your message. Now second, pretend like there's an invisible box right in front of you. Your hands never leave this box. Do you know why people started giving handshakes? It was actually to show that you had no weapon on you. So we are trained as humans through hundreds of years of handshaking to trust people when we see the palms of their hands. So make sure when you're giving a presentation, keep your hands in this box and show the palms of your hands, just like this. And here's your last tip. When giving a class presentation, pretend the room is split up into thirds, the left side, the middle side, and the right side. Spend your time rotating between each of the 3 points. Now, what you're gonna do is pretend to make eye contact with just 1/3 of that class. You're only looking at the left side. This helps maintain eye contact when people think you're making eye contact with everyone in the room. Much easier this way. Yeah, real sorry to hear about what happened to Tony Stark. I really feel for your pain. Good luck with that. You really need to know nonverbal communication to help with persuasion, whether that be negotiating a sale for a new bicycle or coming up with a name for your next Quidditch team for your City League squad, or maybe you're trying to negotiate for that rare My Little Pony card. Use this next tip to help with negotiation. One research study found that compliance increased dramatically using one nonverbal communication body language tip. So you take a phone book, old school phone booth, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave a quarter in that phone booth. We're gonna wait for someone random to go into the phone booth, take the quarter. Now on average in the United States, when someone comes up and say, hey, I think I left a quarter in this phone booth, did you find one? Only 22% of people in the United States actually gave the person the quarter that they found. Using one nonverbal communication tip, they actually increased to 76% compliance of giving back the quarter. All that was simply with an open palm slightly touching for 1/2 of a second your elbow. So they just went up to them, to the elbow and said, excuse me, did you by chance find a quarter in here? Up to 76% compliance. The same thing is used for like waiters and waitresses. Tips increase using this one body language gesture. So you can use this technique at work. Perhaps you're working with someone like Karen. Karen really needs to send you that 1080 form that you've requested many times over the past few weeks by Thursday at 2 p.m. Karen can't get off her lazy. Did you know that nonverbal communication is also very impactful with colors? Cool colors actually are calming in effect. That's why you'll see a lot of times with hospitals or even prisons, we'll use cool colors to calm people down. citrus colors actually increase your appetite. You'll see a lot of fast food places will use citrus colors around to hopefully get you to actually buy more and eat more food. So if you're looking for a diet in the upcoming few months, try surrounding yourself with as many cool colors as possible to depress your appetite.
What the?
Oh. What do you need for your next date?
Help!
Yes, help. Nonverbal communication and body language can really help you get your second date. There's a lot of evolutionary cues that we pick up as humans that we can find a mate easier and more successfully. For example, here's 3 tips. On your next date, don't sit on the opposite side of the table. Make sure that you sit on the side. Don't be those creepy people that sit on the same side of the booth. It's always to the side. Sit on the side of the person. Tip 2 is 2 T's. Your toes and torso should point toward the other person. Anytime you're pointing 2 T's toward the other individual, they're gonna feel more special and feel like you're giving all of your attention. And the 3rd is mirroring. Anytime that we're mirroring the body language of the other person, likability increases dramatically. Nonverbal communication and body language can also predict breakups. John Gottman's research found that using this tactic, you can predict breakups by 92% in just 4 minutes. What are those tactics? You're looking at microexpressions on the face. If you see that contempt and disgust is shown on your partner's face multiple times in a 4-minute span, that relationship's not gonna work out. Is this accurate? No, it's hella accurate. Now, nonverbal communication and body language is essential for things like leadership, persuasion, politicians, and even class presentations. If you're interested in more of these very tactical tips for communication nonverbally, social media, branding, subscribe to this weekly video. Now, perhaps you're someone like Karen, who watched this entire video and is not hitting subscribe. Thanks, Karen. Onward, James.
Back here.